I would, so I'll give you James Lily and you can, I made it a copy so that when we get a new board member, we won't have, I won't have to stop by.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Mike Dunaway on the phone. Can you guys hear me okay?
I can hear you, Mike.
Oh, good.
We can hear you.
Yes, we can hear now. I
Okay.
just had to briefly mute because the YouTube live stream was reverbing.
Okay, great, thanks.
Ready to go?
I will call this order to order this meeting of the Solid Waste Special Service District. To begin the meeting, I would like to have a moment of silence to remember Chad Harris, who we dearly miss and will be dearly missed. So I'd like to have a moment of silence. Hello? Hey. Thank you. I'm going down. The first order of business is electing officers. Do I have a motion?
We'll make a motion that we elect Mary McGann to the chair and Colin Topper to the vice chair position.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that if that was Mary McGann to be the chair and Colin Topper to be the
Vice chair.
under chair or whatever you call it.
Vice chair.
Vice chair. I second that motion.
You can hang out over here. It's your choice.
Okay, all in, any questions, discussion? I will state that, I will be chair until the end of the year, when other people have had more of an opportunity. That will, and then I will let go of it, because being the representative of the county and this being a county district, it's not the best policy to have me chair, but I also have the most experience. So we'll go with that, and all in favor of the motion? Mike?
Hi, I'm in favor.
Now we can begin the meeting, meeting.
And Mary, if I could add to that, there wasn't a moment for discussion, but I think that I would be willing to work towards that and spend this next 5 or 6 months bringing myself up to speed with that in mind.
Okay,
So
and let's see, and if any time you feel like you are ready and you are ready to step up, just let me know.
don't push it, Mary. It'll be January 1st. No.
Okay, present at our meeting are our clerk, Jessica Thacker, Lily, going through, I see it and say it for me. Houghton, Mike Herner, Chad Harris. It's like Christabel, Colin Topper, and Mary McGann, and Diane on, and Nick online.
And Mike Dunaway.
And Mike Dunaway on the line. Okay, gotta stop being so nervous. Okay, first order of business is approval of minutes.
When it needs citizens input, Mary?
Oh, citizens input. Do we have citizens?
Yep.
Sarah's here. Sarah,
Hold on, I'm on there.
thank you.
Ashley. Hi, it's nice to
I
meet
did
you.
this last night. I
Do you
wasn't
have any
as nervous.
citizens input that you'd like to put in?
I think I'm just gonna observe this. You're
Okay, I am. Yeah,
Thanks
it's
for
nice
your
to meet you. Yeah.
And yours?
Ashley.
Mhm.
Thanks for your interest.
Yeah, thanks.
Are you interested in being on the board?
Yeah, kind of. I'm debating.
Hey, Sarah, can you hear us?
Me?
Yes, are you
Yeah,
here for citizens to be heard? Yes. You're open, you're up.
Okay, you were talking to me. I'm sorry, I can't hear that well. I just found out a few minutes ago about Chad, and I am shocked and deeply saddened to hear about his untimely death. My heart goes out to his children and everyone who loved him. I talked to him very recently. We had a great talk, and he actually said to me, I wish you keep calling in. I love when you call in. And I'm like, you're probably the only one who does, but Diane might like it too. But I forgot to call in a couple times, so this is kind of for him. I just wanted to say that, you know, I've been a user of the center since mid-January of 2000. I use it sometimes 2 to 3 times a day, generally once. I just want to say Herman and Quincy are doing a remarkable job up there, keeping everything processed, keeping things clean, keeping the grounds nice, and interacting with people at the drop off. My hat is off to them. That's a hard job, especially in the heat. And I thank them very much for they want to be working. It's very rare nowadays to find people who want to be working, and they want to be. The other thing I just wanted to mention is, you know, it's a hardship not only for me, but others in the community with the center being closed on Monday. I collect a lot of recycling from public sites, especially Lions Park, 8 bins I empty every day. So I have to be configuring how to fit everything in my truck, offload stuff, reload it, because I do other pickups too. I understand there's financial considerations, but I think opening it up more to people and bringing the community in will ultimately lead to financial benefits. The last 2 administrations gave me a key. I doubt that the current one, I'm not talking about Mike per se, but I doubt somebody will. I do have general liability. I know how to sneak in and out at 6 in the morning. And it's just to help people that I do all the free cycling for, get the stuff recycled. And the last thing I'm not going to talk about now, just give you a preview. I don't know if you can see this. I really think we need to look seriously at doing a what?
Recycling systems.
Oh, never mind, I couldn't, nothing. I wanted to know what it said.
Well, I'm gonna send this all to you. It's about doing like a hyper version of the Green Solutions kind of curbside pickup. They've been doing it in Grand Junction with 4,000 customers. They have less than 1% contamination rate. Their goods are, so not only would you get the money on collections, you would get the money on sales. And the possibility of being able to process the stuff over in Junction in the next few years is very high. That would only have to be shipped an hour and a half away. They have trusted relationships with all the mills. They've visited them all. They have high quality product that's sought after. So it would be a transition for sure, but it wouldn't be as hard as losing this place to Waste Management or Republic and losing all control. You guys have control of the entire waste stream. You can ban e-waste in the landfill. You can do so much. So that's all. And I'm really sorry about Chad's loss. It's heartbreaking. I saw him with this kid at Moonflower recently, and I can't imagine what they're going through. And my heart goes out to them and all of us. We never know when the clock's going to stop. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Okay, now, I'll look at my, much closer, approval of minutes. Do I have a motion?
Looked over the minutes and I'd make a motion that we approve the minutes from June 19th, 2024.
Motion by Colin, do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. Motion by, second by Diane. Discussion.
None.
I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, Mike?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. We are now to Treasure Financial.
I think, oh, yeah, be able to bring it up. All right, so it'd be approving expenditures for the month of June. Expenses were overall down from May. May was a longer month that had 3 payrolls, which is why it was, the expenses were so much more. Kind of a summary, we made a payment to the PTIF fund and 2 payrolls as normal for June. So payroll expenses were just almost $204,000. This is very standard. So payroll has consistently been an average about 102,000 per payroll. The hour changes that took effect only being open until 3 p.m. Will lower payroll for July overall. We didn't see that yet in June. So thinking ahead, I think we'll expect to see payroll decrease this month.
Okay.
Operations expenses were also lower than in May. They were $156,000 lower. A payment was made to the PTIF fund, so we're getting more on track with that. Fuel expenses were about $12,000 lower. May was a longer month, is what I was thinking. Also, just with when we receive bills can offset which month the payment is reflected in. Repairs and maintenance was just shy of $50,000. So this is up about $26,000 from May. And there were large payments for equipment work, especially to Wheeler Cat for some of the equipment at the landfills. We also still have the roll-off rental, which is not cheap at $8,700 a month. And we paid for our yearly audit, which was $10,521, which is required. So our total expenses came to $510,483.64. In the board packet, there is an itemized breakdown Excel spreadsheet of every expense. If you have any
Saw that.
questions.
Thank you. I noticed that a lot last night when we were going through the difference between May and other months, even in the county. It was a lot more, it was a lot higher. And, any questions for Lily?
No.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept the June expenditures of $510,483.64 as presented in the packet.
Motion by Diane,
I can second that.
second by Colin. Discussion. Okay, I will call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Nice.
Aye.
Mike? Okay, good.
Aye.
Yes. So it passes unanimously. We are to the Treasure Financial, we're to, reports from board and staff. Mike?
Okay, this was a short month for me because I was off for a week. Thank you for that. But it has been another tough month. You've heard cloudy with a chance of meatballs. Well, this was hot with broken down trucks. Another skin of our teeth month. Tensions have been high around the office. I'm just being honest. But we made it to another month. We have, because of the heat, we have been starting routes as early as 4 or 5 in the morning. Most of our trucks do not currently have working air conditioning. We've had some pushback, but not nearly as much as I feared. Both the city and the county have a noise ordinance of 7 a.m., but we are written in as an exception in the counties. The city does not allow pre 7 a.m., but the new contract that's going into effect, it is written as 6 a.m. That hasn't been widely discussed, but that is in the new agreement. Been a huge help the last week. There's no doubt about it. It's the time of year where everybody's so hot, the trash actually gets a little lighter. They're not going to the store as much. They just don't want to do anything. If you're not buying stuff, you're not throwing stuff out. So the trash is down. But between the early start and the light trash, these guys are getting in here before late afternoon, which helps a lot. The no glass in the single stream, we're hoping that the decals for the carts, they should be here today, maybe. We have contacted most of the major businesses that had glass, and I went out and talked to them personally. The decals will really mark the start of the true removing glass from the single stream. When we put those on everybody's can, and they're forced to see the new do's and don'ts decal that Jessica designed for us. But we'll hopefully be putting those on the carts next week.
And Mike, is it okay to interrupt with questions? What kind of response are you getting from the businesses, especially the really heavy glass?
Mixed. Some of them didn't blink twice. One or two were extremely disappointed.
Yeah.
Not to the point of where they're willing to drive it up to the CRC. But I take it back. There is one that is going to drive it up there of all of them that I talked to. One is going to make sure that it goes to the CRC.
Yeah.
But most of them, I also learned a lot of them weren't using the carts as much as I was under the impression, and they were probably over-serviced anyway. But no major pushback, especially after I explained the situation to them. No major phone calls or major complaints. We haven't done anything with the residential though, so we're kind of doing a soft lead into that.
And is the CRC set up that businesses can come up and easily, are they just dumping front of house? Is that the expectation, or?
We didn't make any operational changes. It has to come in source separated.
Yep.
How they elect to store it is up to the individuals, but I did explain to them that it has to be by color and brought accordingly.
Now, are they packaged by color when they process them, when they prepare them for shipping?
Pretty much exactly the way they're dropped off. We use large, what they call Gaylord cardboard boxes, 3 cubic yard boxes. The glass is put in there. If there's a wrong color on the top, they may get it off the top, but we're not going through the broken glass.
Is there a difference in price? I mean, are we encouraged by the people who are processing the glass to separate it in colors?
That's the way they're asking for it. We do get $5 a ton. So each one of those boxes.
So they are asking for like brown bottles, clear bottles, green bottles. Okay.
I do think it all goes to the Momentum Recycling, which is they make the insulation. So I don't think the end user, it makes much of a difference, but it's one of those where you've got people separating that you don't want to undo that in case you have to go back to it, if that makes any sense to you.
Because we did stop it for a while. We did stop sort separation. And then I really can't remember the decision as to why we went back to separation. So that's why I was curious, because for a while we were separating it because brown bottles were more valuable.
And Rocky Mountain Bottling Company didn't take certain colors, Momentum takes certain colors, so they have their separate shipping
Okay,
lanes.
so there's a purpose for it, then let's keep it. That's what I wanted to know.
For us, it doesn't make a huge difference, but if we don't have to change it at this point, I don't see any reason to change it.
The only thing I was seeing that it would be really hard for someone like Moab Brewery or somebody like that to separate. I mean, if they brought it up to the center, then to have them sit there and separate the glass would be a difference. So I was gonna, so that's why I was bringing it up, because if it was not a difference in price, if we didn't have to ship it off in different boxes with different colors, then I would say that's to accommodate the businesses that are willing to bring them up. But it sounds like there's a reason to separate them.
And that's consistent with my questioning is just if it would make sense to have some other system, both for the center. So that their front of the house bins aren't getting filled up really quickly or, by these businesses who are generating a lot of glass. Have some kind of arrangement where there can be sort of a back house. Would that make
I
any sense?
I think that makes complete sense, and I think as this starts to take, as they go through the motions and stuff, we'll be able to identify which companies will come up and probably
Yeah.
accommodate them without
Yeah,
putting too much effort into, because it'll probably go more routine, so, if
Yeah.
all of a sudden, if they're coming up Thursdays, we can have
you'll get to know.
Gaylord's
them,
already ready, maybe we can reach out to Momentum and see if maybe we can make an exception with some ones, but I mean, I'm kind of with Mike where we already have something in place, you don't want to necessarily break that system and then try to get it to go back to it.
Yes, I
But I think
understand.
we could make exceptions for the businesses,
Yeah,
Maybe we could have a separate drop off for
Yeah, like-
businesses for glass.
because a lot of times we allow businesses to go around the back for heavy cardboard, something, so we could arrange something similar.
Yeah, that would, yeah, so maybe that's for future consideration to find out if we could do that, if we could have exceptions to how we sent some of the boxes to help the businesses.
Okay. Facility hours and operating days. The change went into effect July 1st. It was, bad timing and rotten luck that the storms hit right before that change in service. We did offer free storm debris, for the following week after the first week, I believe. But, Moab landfill definitely got slammed on Tuesday, July 2nd, and then again on the 9th. 59 customers and 49 customers. This week, the number returned to a little closer to a normal Tuesday with 28 customers. We're gonna continue monitoring this. It does make a difference. 59, it's one every 8 minutes or so, but it takes obviously a lot more time to manage the waste of the working face when you've got them coming in one after another like that. I did receive one direct complaint about Moab being closed on Mondays. And about an hour ago, I received another call, about us closing an hour early. Again, not as bad as I feared, but I'm sure there are some people that haven't called. Trucks. We started the conversion to create a new, small roll-off. As a reminder, we literally have one small roll-off truck operational now. Period. Roll-off trucks are our lifeblood. Without that revenue, we would be in a world of hurt. We are having to push some customers off a day or two. And we have had at least one extremely upset roll-off customer, at least. We are still searching for the chassis that you approved to buy last month. So we're taking baby steps into correcting the issue, but it is a nerve-wracking situation. And, we're not providing the best customer service when we have to push them off for 2 days, simply because we just can't get to them. The volume is down. It seems construction is down some, or would appear, but it's also the hottest part of the year, so that's, it happens. The remediation of the adjacent shooting range to the Moab landfill, waiting on an update from the county attorney. I heard a rumor that there might be an RFP. Another county representative said there has not been any type of RFP, but he was gonna double check. I just want to make sure our seat at the table doesn't disappear. Because we really, it was one of the reasons we were incorporated was to help with that remediation. The next part, it's all about making the board aware of a lot of coming expenses. The bale scale at the CRC broke down and the repairs would literally cost as much as a new one. And when I say that, we're talking over 5,000, more. We're still discussing what to do, if anything. We don't necessarily have to replace it, but we're weighing the options. The bulldozer at the Moab landfill, it's got a long history of overheating. I know going back before I arrived, but I think since before Chris arrived. And overheating landfills, overheating bulldozers are a bad thing. We are gonna have to spend another $12,000 on a new radiator and hope again that fixes it. Our mainline power washer died. That was over 10 years old. We're gonna have to replace that because we definitely need those to help keeping the vehicles look good, but also running good. The radiators have to be blown out occasionally. Engineering costs, Klondike and Moab are both facing permit renewals in the coming years. Klondike's got the new cell rapidly approaching, and you have to have the engineering sign of approval, and that costs money. Of course, we've got the roll-off expense that you approved. I think we're gonna need new computers when we take over the city billing, or at least a new main server, so to speak. AMCS, how much we really owe is to be decided, and we had to order some carts. The city did agree to help us with that. But it's still gonna cost us around $20,000. These are things, if you're gonna provide the service, you gotta have the carts. Not a full load. We could have saved a few dollars if we'd done a full load, but we would ended up putting a much larger expense out. I'm not trying to be overly negative. We have made advances. Our major customers are under contract. The Park Service, BLM, for 4 to 5 years. We've got the new agreement with the city, and that's a long-term agreement. Chris has done an outstanding job at the landfills compared to where he started. Compliance measures are so greatly improved, it's not even funny. And the equipment's been upgraded. He did most of that before he even got here. Lily has an excellent grasp of the cash flow, which is a tightrope at times. Just because it's in the budget doesn't mean it's in the bank. And she's learning the industry. She's been helping in customer service so that we don't have to hire another temp, at least for the time being. And she's learning something every day, it looks like. It's not fun to answer the phones in a garbage business because it's no news is good news. Sure. So if they're calling, they're complaining. Yep. 98% of the time. Yep. We have tightened expenses where it made sense while still providing a 4% increase to the staff. The transfer station is the cleanest it's been in a long time. And our compliance with waste being on the floor at the end of the day is nearly zero. The board has come to grasp some of the long-term plans and issues that need to be addressed, such as the life expectancy of the Moab landfill and the condition of the transfer station. We're in the process of making contacts with people who can help us make those things happen, hopefully. So we've definitely made some advances. It's just that the constant setbacks overshadow it sometimes. And I want the board to be fully informed. As I told at least two of the board members this past week, you'll probably be hearing from people, not just from the outside, but people from inside, in-house. And that's absolutely fine. We're trying, we're making progress. It's difficult. I do try to. When I report, I feel like I'm bringing all the negative, but this is my time to say, hey, we've got this. This is coming, to fully inform everyone. But we've made progress, but it has been difficult. The heat doesn't help. Everyone gets a little short.
Yeah.
But that is my report. If you've got any questions, I'll gladly answer them.
I've got a question about the roll-off truck. So, there are two sizes of roll-off trucks. We have a larger and a smaller.
Correct.
And,
More importantly, two different systems.
Yes.
okay, there,
Yes.
so that probably answers my question right there. So, I mean, I can very much understand how the smaller roll-off trucks couldn't service the bigger dumpsters, bigger roll-offs, but the bigger ones can't service the smaller.
Yeah, and
roll-offs.
and the truck size doesn't matter. It's the two different systems. One's a proprietary system that only
Okay.
we own.
Oh, really?
So we can't go out like we did with the other one and rent a system to facilitate our roll-off needs.
Okay, and there's no way to adapt the bigger trucks to also.
There is, we've been working on it, Levi. I mean, we've all been trying, but it's really expensive, and
Okay.
the logistics to actually swap systems is gonna take probably a season.
Oh, wow.
It would mean converting the hook system on each container. Obviously that takes a long time, and as a welder, you know, these dumpsters aren't small.
Yeah.
The smaller trucks we call them the small trucks because they do haul the smaller containers. They are single axle. So the heavier loads, they probably couldn't handle to begin with, even if we made the conversion, at least some of them.
Okay.
Especially the biosolids. We found that out this summer.
Yep.
Where it lifted the truck off.
Oh, wow.
But it is possible. It just takes time and money.
And it's
Put it bluntly.
mostly on the container end. Is that correct?
Well, you either change the cable or winch system, or you change the hook on the dumpster. It's gotta be one or the other.
You know, and we want to change the rail system because we want to go to a format that everyone else uses. That way, worst case scenario, we have options.
Yes.
And both systems can fit on either truck. So,
It is what we'd want. It would be much more efficient.
Yeah,
You wouldn't have to come back here, park a truck, have a driver get in another vehicle.
absolutely. Yeah.
It's frustrating, but we're trying to work through it.
Yes, understood. Thank you.
And we're literally, if you don't know it, if I didn't make it clear, we're literally taking an old garbage truck. We've just taken the body off of it, and we're taking the frame so that we've got two newer roll-off trucks than we're currently running. We're creating a Frankenstein, so to speak,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
and at the same time doing third party. So we're trying to do an in-house and a third party just to see what we can get first, just to have backup here as quick as we can.
Great. Okay. Understood.
Yeah,
Thank you.
in normal seasons, we actually run two small roll-offs. Generally, in our busy season, they're running, so normally we're running two trucks at a time, as we're right now, we only have one.
Okay. Thank you.
Is that,
that is all.
thank you.
Fine.
Chris?
I put mine in an email and sent it out. I just thought it would be a little bit more appropriate, so if anyone had any questions, they can come talk to me about it. I tried not to add confusion or anything, but it was kind of a last minute decision. So I apologize if there's some miscommunications.
Lily?
Right, I did reach out, I believe it was last week, the week started blurring together, to two citizens that had expressed interest in joining our board. One is here right now, thank you. Actually, The other was Marie Brophy with the health department, and she did just write back today that it's not a time that she's interested in taking on a new commitment. So we do have, you're well aware we have this current vacancy and then another vacancy coming in the new year when Diane's term expires. And thank you for serving, Diane. Other than that, I've been working with AMCS. We had a meeting last Thursday. They assured us that AMCS is our new software system for anyone that might be zooming in that isn't aware of these acronyms we're throwing around. They assured me that we would be in the new system by the 24th, so 1 week away.
Oh, good.
I will be out of the office the afternoon of the 24th through August 5th on a vacation that I planned before I accepted this position at Solid Waste. The goal is to be operational August 1st. It is unfortunate I won't be here, but Savannah, I feel like the team is more than capable. They assured us that we would be able to test it before the 24th, before I left. So I haven't heard anything else from them, but I'm going to hold them to that guarantee. I did have a conversation with Mercy today. It seems there's been some confusion. While we have provided service to city residents, we don't have any of their billing information. And when we take on the billing in September with the new contract, we'll need billing information, customer contacts, basically, which we do not have. She ran into one of the staff members just on personal time in the community and said that we would not receive that information until September, which doesn't give us a lot of time to get it going. I talked with her today and explained we really just need a billing contact, a phone number, an email address, and she seemed to think that we could get that information sooner than
Great.
September 1st. She said that there would be meetings with David, the city manager, about this. So, you know, those aren't scheduled yet, but it was positive that it seems that, you know, it's information we don't have that we need. The longer we have it, the more time we have to prepare the Excel spreadsheet that the software company will need for uploading this information. And then I spoke with Sean, our accountant with Suman Rich and Mersing. I had brought up last meeting about having the executive director become a signer on checks to alleviate some of the pressure on the board to come in every 2 weeks to sign. He spoke with his colleague and they overall do not recommend it, but it is open if the board wants to proceed with it. If the board does proceed, he suggested creating policies that would only allow the executive director to sign in certain situations and to limit a dollar amount. He suggested $5,000 and to document why the executive director would be signing instead of the board. The logic I had behind adding another signer would be to alleviate the board. Every check cycle that you come in, we have at least one check over $5,000. So that there negates the whole purpose of it. He did say that $5,000 was his recommendation. It again does not have to be what the board chooses. If you choose, but just to set some limit and have it documented, whether it be $10,000, our current credit line on credit cards is $10,000. So a cardholder could theoretically spend $10,000 without board approval, if needed. I don't want to say without board approval, but without like a board signing.
Right.
Something. And I didn't look at how, many payrolls have a check over $10,000, but I would assume it's at least half, if not more. So I don't know if it's something we want to pursue.
Isn't that
It was,
action item or
it was a
or
possible action.
discussion, or was it a discussion?
I had it as possible action item under old business. I did not hear back from Sean until today, and just with the notice requirements for getting the agenda out, I wanted to keep it on there in case it was a favorable recommendation, but it was not.
Yeah, but I remember I had the same discussion with him because it's always been an issue getting two board members in to sign. It is an issue. It was a real struggle during COVID.
Another thing is we could have it be kind of a stopgap measure just through the end of the year, and to document we are currently down to 4 board members. With Diane being in Castle Valley, it's another, thing for her to schedule and think about, which, makes it hard to get, it's not as easy as living down the road to come in. So that could be something that we add Mike as a signer temporarily. Just some things to think about. We don't have to take action on it.
certainly makes sense to me.
It makes sense to me, and yet I'm kind of nervous about it because it is not a recommendation of our auditors. I know, and that we aren't under scrutiny that the county is. But I mean, there's just so much,
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think we really have to be cautious. We always have to be cautious. I mean, so I think we would want, maybe we can talk and talk about if we did have it in for certain situations, say, like, every once in a while, you've had to call us to come in and sign one check because somebody needs it right away. Then if it's one check or something of that nature, that, yeah, that could work out, or, let's think of the times that it would be appropriate to have Mike as, as a signer before we move ahead with anything, because
Is that really where you see the need, Lily, when it's just a one-off and rather than having?
Those don't happen very often. I think I can think of 2 instances in the 7
Yeah,
months
that's
I've been here.
it's not too off. It's just hard to get to board members, especially if we end up traveling and we end up doing things like that. So there is,
Mhm.
it's, we could have an emergency. We could put it in as an emergency criteria that in case of emergency, that there is only one board member
Yeah.
present. Then in that situation, okay.
Mhm.
I could see that, and then it probably wouldn't be that often. And then hopefully we will have a full board by the end of the year, and if we change our bylaws so that, we're not required to have someone from Castle Valley, it'd be great. I don't want to eliminate them, always want to be a choice, but
Mhm.
it took us 1.5 years to find somebody from
Yeah.
Castle Valley.
Yeah.
So,
I did not know that.
yeah, Pam kept saying it's gonna be my last day, it's gonna be my last day, and then she finally just said, it's my last day. And then it took us, we had one person for a little while, wasn't it? That young girl that was there for just, yes, it's not like blink.
She wasn't from Castle Valley though. She was just,
Stephanie Hindorski.
Gives
Oh, she was on the board? Interesting.
somehow, anyway, that's,
Hey, well, I've got from Castle Valley, I come to town once a week, and if I know ahead of time, I'm more than happy to be one of the 2. The other comment that I have is that if we have someone on the board that is not registered to sign, which I believe we have one right now, then that to me is where we need to have our attention to get that person on board to sign as well, so that we have everybody on the board available so that people can take vacations and we don't have a problem. But I'm more than happy to come in if I know ahead of time.
That's
with that, Mike, when are you gonna be back in town?
I'll be back in next week.
Do you think it'd be worth trying to do a DocuSign for if he's gonna be here next week?
Yeah, Mike, I can send you electronically the authorization form to add you as a signer to the bank accounts. And then if you return that to me, I can give it to Mary and we can get you added. And that will solve that problem. We didn't have the form at the last meeting, Diane. And I usually try and have the checks ready by Wednesday of every other week. And I'll definitely reach out to you early in the week, like that Monday, to let you know.
Yeah, Lily, I have my computer and all that, so I can do the DocuSign while I'm traveling. And,
Okay.
and just to chime in on the signature issue, I think it seems like a solvable situation with like having appropriate safeguards, for having other people as board members sign, like if a level of notice to the board and then making it clear that nobody's available to sign, and then having a limit on how many times or the money amount, and then some post-signature process. It seems like we could cover our bases with that.
Yeah.
I think we could get it, so.
That makes good sense, what Mike just said. I agree with that. Yeah, and then have a step by step. Okay, no board members are available, it's time sensitive. All the different criteria that we leave.
So that had, so I think it's possible, but we do need to have
I mean,
the safeguards in place.
and one thing, we've only ever used this option once, but there was an instance a few months ago where a vendor needed payment immediately. The credit card wasn't processing. We weren't able to reach Mary, and I was able to pay them via ACH, and the board approved it after the fact. So, if there are emergency situations, if someone has to be paid that day, I feel like, obviously, it would have been approved internally by the staff before we would send them the money via ACH, but that would always be an option as well. I don't know if the auditors would like that, but they're just, we have to pay our vendors timely sometimes and our staff as well, which were the 2 times that board members had to be in on a certain day to sign. I think were both for staff payroll checks.
That's it?
All I have.
Jessica?
Right, so I've got a laundry list of things, but, Mike kind of covered some of the items about the single stream decals. Those were actually supposed to be delivered today. I gotta figure out what happened there. Maybe there was just a delay in delivery, but like you said, they'll be delivered and we'll start the process of tagging all the cans and updating all of that. I've been continuing to spread as much information as I can, on our Facebook, and I've been slowly updating our website with more updated information. It's there's lots of little areas in which that information is hidden. So a discussion happened between me and Lily, and we felt it would be best to kind of start moving away from this clunky website that we've got going on right now. And I'm in the process of redesigning an entirely brand new website. So Lily's kind of seen my draft of the first page. Instead of having to scroll endlessly, all of the information, at a glance is about that big. So even if you open it up on a mobile device, because I can change the interfacing or the formatting to where it'll fit, whether you're looking at it on a computer, whether you're looking at it on a tablet, or whether you're looking at it mobile. So, what may look normal on, a laptop is going to look wild on a phone, and a lot of us are pulling up our information on the phone. So I'm trying to condense all of our information, get rid of all the wordiness, the crazy novels that we've got going on. And that way, all the information is at everybody's fingertips in a really easy to digest manner. So I've been dedicating a lot of time to that.
Plus, we're in-housing it, so we're not relying on a third party or having to pay a third
Love
party.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks,
So
Jessica.
that's huge. So thank you, Jessica.
Yeah.
I'm pulling out some skills a while back. We did participate in the 4th of July parade that was
Yes.
that was organized by Asta or Spanish Children. And that went off really well. Kids absolutely adored seeing the truck, and I had several kids screaming in excitement that we had the best candy of the entire parade. So
What was it?
it was just all the good stuff. So Mike also touched on the storm debris roundup event. I did make a post that kind of summarized that. If I can remember correctly, I believe it was around 770 cubic yards of material was collected in that 5-day period, with a total cost savings of, I want to say, around 8,700 to the community during those 5 days. So that's pretty cool. I submitted an article to Moab Happenings for their July edition on the glass removal, kind of bidding a farewell to glass, as well as generating multiple press releases. The most recent one being a letter to the editor about the passing of Chad Harris. And there's going to be more that will be released, but I wanted to have this more respectful item put forward first before we started kind of gloating about things that we've managed to accomplish here. Luckily, the direct mailers actually went out just right before July 1st. They told us that wasn't going to happen, and I actually got a text from one of my coworkers asking how I managed to get the mailers out in time. So I'm glad that those went out. There was a little bit of confusion from a couple of individuals on the glass recycling. For some reason, people were reading it as we were taking out glass everywhere completely, especially from the CRC. I was like, well, no. So I've had several really good, thoughtful conversations with, some customers about that. And let's see, two more things. There is a potential grant, on composting that is, in the process of being developed or will be developed, in partnership between USU, us, and city. Can't remember if it's city or Grand. Is the county, okay, because I remember Alexi being a part of that discussion.
So it might be the city,
Yeah, yeah.
county, and.
Right, it might be a multi-entity composting grant that we'll be a part of. Potentially. And then last but not least, Kelly reached out to me from the Mark, the reuse artist for the fall season have been selected, and she's already passed on their projects to us. They look actually really cool. I'm quite kind of excited about these. One of these is going to be making organic film developing processes. So they'll be building a camera box with materials from the Moab landfill. And then the other one is, I'm an artist, but sometimes I don't understand certain artist things, but she's calling them reliquary boxes.
What?
Reliquary boxes. They're, I don't know. I briefly read it, but basically she's trying to show the life cycle of items that end up in landfills. So in reliquaries, they're basically supposed to be like these items that contain more noticeably, they're like religious things where they contain like parts of icons, and it's supposed to display this special thing, and there's a whole story behind it. But that's what her process is creating reliquary boxes from the landfill to showcase life cycles of things that end up in the trash. So they're looking to tour the facilities starting in August. So yeah, there's that.
And so that composting grant, what is the scope of what that grant money will be looking to cover?
I have not gotten the details of that grant. The individual that, because it's been between me and Chris, Mel.
Oh, Mel, who works with the
Mel,
Lexi?
yeah. She was the one that found it, and she was like, I think this is a possibility. Let's get together and discuss whether this is something we want to move forward with. So like, I'm not exactly sure of the full scope because I didn't find the grant, because this is a grant that we can be a part of it. Like, we can submit data to it, we can submit things to it, but we would not qualify for it alone. So it wouldn't show up on my radar.
Okay.
So do you have anything else?
Is it more just the viability of a company?
Well, I think it kind of evolved from, it was Catherine Murphy.
Yes.
We did a tour, and we were gonna give, we had set aside some of our mulch up at the Moab landfill. We were gonna just try to make some dirt out of it. So, we sit around, I've been in these discussions for 7 years and we've never produced any dirt. So I was like, okay, let's make some dirt. I got the stuff, you figure out what you need and I'll make it happen. And I think it's just through the process. She was looking at maybe trying to use horse manure and stuff. I think she talked to, is it Rosalind?
Rosalind Kennedy.
Oh, yeah.
Up at
From the
USU, who I've spoke with before and definitely knows her stuff. And this is just kind of taken off. I'm not sure quite. They've just been actually waiting on data from us.
Yeah.
Right now. It sounds like kind of bigger than what the initial of just trying to make a little pile of dirt is. But, kind of see where it goes.
Yeah. That actually, Rosalind would be a good person to reach out to about, maybe filling one of these board seats.
I didn't consider that. I can reach out to her.
Okay,
Oh, I'll text her too. That's a good idea.
let's all text her.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Peer pressure.
A multi-prong attack.
Yeah, because she would be amazing because of her knowledge of just all of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah,
She
she's
seems very,
she's very practical and pragmatic too.
We'll get all
Is
of
that
Mulberry
it,
Grove.
Jessica?
What's that?
We'll get all of Mulberry. Grove.
Okay, Nick, you're up.
Yeah, I just, one of the primary things, working on a discussion with Sean from Smullen and Marsing, just a couple more items related to the audit that we need to get completed, and then we'll be able to issue that report. One of them is I'll need some input from Mike and Chris and Lily on some market outlook narrative that will be included in the audit report. And I believe Sean CC'd you, Mike, on that. So there's some yellow highlighted items that we just need to review and make sure the language is still valid, or if we need to add additional market outlook items. And the other two things were I just need to review the P&L by class for a couple of negative items, that whether they're valid or not, and then also the 5-year debt schedule. Once those three things are completed, then we can they can get the report issued. Working on some TerraTrash revenue entries for April, May, and June. Lily and I will be looking at the transfer station transactions to see what's going on there. But so those are the primary things that are on my report.
Thank you. Questions for anyone? Okay, board. Diane, do you have anything to report? Colin?
I do not.
Mike?
I do not.
I have something to talk about, and just because we're going through the county, we have neglected to do your evaluation. It's just over our head. But I know that it is part of our job to give a 1-year evaluation, and we did so with Deb and Evan. So that process involves like we do in the county, we do a 360 where we get input from staff, and then you do a self-evaluation. Then we compile it, and then Colin and I will sit down and talk to you, and then we'll have a board meeting, and then we file it. And usually in the past, they've usually been help people know where to move forward and what needs to happen and what needs to change. So I apologize, I think, how long have you been on now? A year and a half?
A year and a half.
So we're half a year behind. And it just went over my head, because I meant to do it at the year anniversary. So we'll started here, and we'll make sure that in a year from now, we follow through. We'll get it on the calendar. I mentioned at the commission meeting last night that you were thankful to Bell Jackson for the water trucks, the issue of water trucks and such, and so mentioned that the amount of time, the donation we did with the help of the cleanup. So those are the two things I have to report. Any questions? Okay. Possible vote on special population service discount.
Yes, we've talked about this a few times. I think it was first brought up at the March board meeting. Obviously, our fees have increased, and a handful of members of the community have expressed an inability to make these payments. Brainstorming, again, this is just the history. We thought about offering a 30% discount to recipients of Grand County's tax abatement program, which would constitute about not quite 200 households, and would cost the district about $1,300 a month. We tabled it at the last meeting, I think, due to question. You reached out to the Utah Special Service District Board, and they said we can legally offer a discount as a special service district. It just has to be clearly outlined who receives this discount, what it's for. So we could move forward if the board chooses in offering this service discount, but again, I think it's at your discretion. It's not a time, I think the district wants to leave money on the table, but at the same time, you know, I think we're hearing all around how Moab is becoming unlivable for many local residents.
I would like, I think I would like to move ahead with it, but in, where we get the policy in place,
Okay.
organized how we're going to do it, and then maybe implement it at the beginning of next year, because then we will be having that, extra income from the city. So we might be able to more afford, afford the monthly hit.
Okay.
Because it doesn't sound like a lot until you realize it's a monthly, and then you go, oh, well, that's,
Yeah, it's significant.
then it becomes significant. But I do think it's a thing for a special service district to do, because we're here to serve, and I feel bad about the people that, if those people are receiving that tax benefit from the county for their property tax, I think it's appropriate for us to move forward. Or if we want to do it after we've had the city contract up and going for a while. But I think we have to have the policy, and it has to be written, the resolution has to be written, and the policy has to be written so that it's very clear, so no one can come and say, well, it has to be, no, this is the only way you can get it, is you have to qualify for the county's tax.
I believe the plans to basically mirror the county's policy.
And,
And no one wants to, it's a rough time for everyone, but I think it's a good thing to offer. That would be the most that it would be. That's only if all of those residents were signed up for and then did sign up. There's no guarantee that all of those homes currently have service. It just depends.
and we
So,
were
That
at
would be
least,
worst case.
we were at least brainstorming that it would only be for residential containers, so a 65 or a 96 gallon cart. If those residences have like a 2-yard dumpster, that's considered commercial, and we would not be discounting that.
Can't imagine they do, but who knows? So I guess it is to direct staff to move forward on developing a policy to
Thank
get
you.
that done.
Yeah, I'm new at this, so I appreciate the guidance.
Okay.
Just once we get into the mechanics of it, I would suggest in terms of the billing system that whatever customers are affected by that, we charge them the full amount, and we have an extra line on there for the discount, so it's fully visible.
Yes, sir.
If you set up just a rate for that, it kind of gets lost in the mix down the road, staff changes and stuff. So my suggestion would be, once we're in the mechanics of it, that they get charged the full amount, and then there's a line maybe on their bill that has the discount. So it becomes visible.
And that'd be nice, because then they would be realizing it too.
Mhm.
Be a monthly, oh, yeah, okay. Thank you, Nick, that's a real good suggestion.
Mhm.
So are we through with that discussion? We've already discussed the executive director. Once again, it's like getting a policy in place. And then I think it's a good idea for emergencies and such to have a policy in place.
So Mary, we don't need a motion to initiate the,
We're not voting on it, we're directing the staff to go ahead and work on getting something
Okay.
together to bring to us, correct?
okay, thank you for the clarification, yes.
Yes, because we're not, we don't see it, we'd have to have a resolution to vote,
Okay, got it,
we're not prepared.
thank you.
And the same with the executive director, we need a resolution to do that.
Yeah, thank you.
Where at?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so we'll get that. I did I already did that, director's annual review. The next meeting is August 21st, 2024. Is there any business that I've neglected? We've neglected?
Mary, I missed the introduction of the young woman in the room who is interested in being on our board. And so I would really welcome her to say who she is and why she's interested, and so that we can maybe introduce ourselves to her too then.
Thank you, Diane. That was a great idea. Yes. Why don't you-
My name's Ashley Wareham, and I am a lifelong resident of Moab. I manage Harrison's across the street. We are a big customer of you guys to dispose of. Not only just our disposal of our waste off of projects or demolitions or getting rid of asphalt or dirt or not much dirt anymore because that's a rare commodity, but concrete. We also have you guys haul our trash off. Because I'm a resident, you haul my trash off at my house. And I'm interested, I know that solid waste has a lot of rules and regulations that I don't know, but I know they're out there that you guys have to follow. And I just thought maybe I should come and educate myself and, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah. To be here.
Okay, Colin, do you want to introduce yourself?
Colin Topper, Moab City Council. And
Nick,
pretty new to both.
Nick, do you want to introduce yourself?
Nick Lundberg, been involved with the district for a number of years now in a consulting accounting role. And it's great that members of the community become interested in the board and what it does. And again, like you mentioned, the rules and policies that are out there. So, welcome, glad for your inquiry and thank you.
Mike?
Yeah, hi Ashley, this is Mike Dunaway. I've been a resident of Moab since about 1996. I've been on the board, I think 2 months now. So I'm very new to it. I'm learning, but I'm excited you're interested.
Thank you. Diane?
Yeah, Ashley, I live in Castle Valley and I've been here for 10 years. Been on the board, I can't remember, but at least 3, probably 3.5. I'm an avid recycler. I am the voice for recycling on this committee, and I welcome anybody from the community that takes the time to learn more about waste management, because most people don't have a clue, and you certainly do. So we appreciate that, and I hope that you consider being on our board.
Jessica?
I'm Jessica Packer. I'm pretty sure you recognize my name from
emails.
emails back and forth. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm the program manager / district clerk. I've been here since 2019. My main job is just educating the community, generating all the flyers that you see, and a lot of like really weird miscellaneous stuff in the background.
Lynn?
We've spoken. I'm Lily Houghton. I've lived in Moab about 14 years now, but just joined solid waste middle of December. So I've been a bookkeeper for 10 years. But there's definitely a lot to learn about an industry.
Mine?
Mike Kennerly, executive director here. Been in Moab a 1.5 years. Just appreciate you showing up. We don't get too many visitors. There is so much misinformation out there. So anybody has any questions, we love to talk to people.
I'm Mary McGann. I'm the representative from the Grand County Commission. And I think I may have taught one of your brothers, or I know I taught him Wareham.
Well, no, I'm sorry. My maiden name is Harrison.
Oh, okay.
My married name is Wareham, but
Okay.
you probably did teach me and my brother and my sister. And I went to school for students, so. Anyway.
Yeah, I remember a few worms going through my class, that was, yeah, I am too, pretty much of a lifetime. I've lived here most of my life and, yeah, so thank you.
She
Chris,
taught my kids.
She taught me, and
Yeah.
I think I did too, because she looked so,
maybe I had a different,
at Red Rock.
Yeah.
first grade or something.
Yeah.
I don't think I did. Anyway, regardless. Yeah.
Chris,
My name is Chris Goble. I'm the operations director. I've been here since 2018. I've lived in Moab since right around 2012. My family that I've been here with, so for generations.
Thank you.
If you have any questions this week or after you go home, please give anybody a phone call.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Any other, covered everything? Our next meeting is August 21st, 2024. We've reached the end of our agenda, so I will adjourn this meeting. 5:10.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mary.
It started out really.